slightly under an hour of 48 minutes. We did 153,788 Prospector run. Now we do have the 48 SCU bags on board, but we'll take it. Hey everybody, it's your old friend V. How you doing? And I am going to talk to you a little bit about profitability in the Prospector. And yes, there is a little bit to be had, but you've got to know a couple of tips and tricks, and that's what we're going to focus on today. So I got a couple of different Prospectors. Let's take a look at those real quick. The first Prospector is going to have just your standard, pretty much everything standard. In this particular case, it's a Helix mining laser, a 1 with a couple of FLTR-XLs. You know, there's a couple of different ways to go about this. You might also choose a Surge, which would give you a significantly more optimized opportunity to crack really, really large rocks. In this particular case, I'm just going to go with the 2 FLTR-XLs. And I also have a Prospector here that has, you know, a Hofstad size 1 and a Rieger C3. I'm actually enjoying this particular meta. You know, I think that there are some questions about whether or not you want to go with the Rieger C3. There are some other things that you could choose here, focuses and that type of thing, but this is the one that I'm going with. I do have in this, also I have the Atlas drive in this particular Prospector, and this is the one I'm going to take out today. And let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to grab that Prospector 2. We're going to head over towards Daymar from CRUL1, and we are going to do a little bit of prospecting. Now, a couple things about my Prospector I will say is I did kind of do that that mole mission. Hangar 5 is where we're headed. That mole mission where you can upgrade your SCU from 32 to 48. And you know, I don't know if that's something that I really hope that would be something that it stays. Yeah, maybe something they patch out. But I will tell you, I do think that there's a significant improvement in the profitability. You know, as you can imagine, you have a lot more room for some tier 1 filler, and it's just a lot of fun. Honestly, I think it's a lot of fun having the extra SCU on board. Now, we're going to be mostly looking for tier 2 resources, but crossing our fingers that we do stumble across something tier 1 that we can break. Tier 2 resources include, and you don't see a lot of diamond, but it does, you know, those are included in those resources. So it's going to be diamond, borace, laranite, hephaestonite, agricium, and beryl. Those are the types of resources we're going to kind of focus on here. We are going to go ahead and get set up. Now, a couple of things. We're going to head right over towards Crusader. And like I said, we're going to be heading towards Daymar. So that's going to be our destination. I'm going to kind of get a little bit going here. We'll go ahead and raise the gear. Got plenty of room there. Out we go. They gave me kind of a pretty big hangar there for some reason. I'm not sure I understand why, but I'm not gonna question it. Off we go. We're spooling the Atlas drive. Now, one thing I like about the Atlas drive is it's pretty quick to calibrate, and you know, fairly quick to spool up as well, and off we go. So, obviously, you do hope to get yourself a little gold, a little terranite, a little Bexalite. Quantanium's, you know, something that it's a little bit unobtainium at this, you know. It's not to say you don't find any, because you certainly do. But I usually find it in more mole size nodes. So a little tip or trick here as we're kind of crossing Crusader. We're not going to get real close. Once we cross this ring here, we're just going to go ahead and stop. And then we're going to kind of redirect. So I just kind of watch this area here as we are approaching Crusader. And so one of the things that we are going to focus on is locating tier 2 resources that are north of 45%. So that's one of the things that I've been really, really having good success with. And when you find those resources north of 45%, there are a lot of times you're going to get a pure 100% or at least north of 85% pure break on the item. So we'll go ahead and we'll just go ahead and drop right out of quantum right here. And we will go ahead and redirect. You can see we're inside the ring. We're going to redirect to Daymar. I'll go ahead and set that, and off we go. I'll go ahead and spool back up. So the Prospector's been, it's not in the same place as it used to be, as we all know. You're not going out there and kind of hitting the lottery in that 15-minute window. And potentially 18 minutes, 20 minutes coming back with 275,000 worth of Quantanium. That being said, it still is. There's a lot of layers to mining. It's incredibly fun, and there's still some profitability to be had in it. So that Kudra ore looks like a good place. I actually am going to do this though. I've been approaching OM4. I don't want to really kind of go any place near any place, so I'm going to go ahead and hit OM4. What we're going to do is I'm just going to gun it, and we're just going to head down towards the planet surface. So it's always nice that that's 723. That's on the other side of the moon. That all these 700s are on the other side of the moon, so we're in pretty good shape. I mean, I'm just gonna go ahead and we're just gonna head on down here. Now this is gonna take a couple of minutes, and it's gonna give us an opportunity to chat. But that being said, I do like doing this as opposed to going towards one of the available places to head down to, because it's a more remote location, and that's what we're looking for. Now, why am I heading to Daymar as opposed to maybe the Aaron Halo in this particular case? The Prospector's nimble. It's quick. You're able to cover a lot of ground fairly quickly, and it's a numbers game, right? You're going to find predominantly on Daymar, it's going to be clusters. Now, it doesn't matter. It could be Selin, it could be Yella, it could be any place, really. I mean, that's the beauty of kind of, you don't have to just mine on Lyria anymore or go to the Aaron Halo. Now, the Aaron Halo, I will say, if you are going to go prioritize Band 5, I am seeing a much more robust RNG where you get clusters of at least 3 rocks in Band 5 in the Aaron Halo. Space right now has lots of single rocks. It doesn't, moon surfaces, planet surfaces have a lot more clustering. This is a numbers game. We want to look at as many rocks as possible because we are looking for tier 2 resources that are north of 45%. So this is me coming in hot. It doesn't actually take, it seems like it takes less time for whatever reason. Now, I'm starting to feel like I'm getting close. I'm actually going to start just kind of letting, I kind of belly up here. It's one of the things I like to do right before I kind of hit the atmosphere. And that actually helps kind of take off some of the, you can see here, it's just, we're cruising on in. Absolutely love the beauty of Star Citizen. Just, obviously never ceases to amaze me. And then we are going to head on in. We're trying to avoid really anything, any incursions with anybody whatsoever. So we are moving in kind of hot. I'm going to go ahead and, I'm going to lower the VTOLs. And we are just crossing 10,000, but you can see we're slowing down dramatically. Easy peasy. Now, I like to switch over to mouse and keyboard from sticks at this point, and I will begin kind of looking around. So the first thing I'm going to do is just kind of hit a 90 ping. Boom, I'm cool on my way in. I can see there's a 1950. That is actually a single rock. That's actually kind of funny. And then there's 1800. So a couple of single rocks right off the bat. You mostly don't see a lot of single rocks, of course. That's okay. There's a 7. Wow, it's proving me wrong there. There's our first kind of cluster right there. That's a 6,000 cluster. What about this guy here? That is an 8,000 cluster. What about this guy here? That is a, was that 70? 71. So we're going to head over towards this cluster, these 2 clusters over here. We're going to take a look at these rocks and see what we got. So with that being said, I'm going to pull out the mining laser. The cool thing is you can actually now kind of toggle your speed with the mining laser out, and we're going to approach these rocks. Now I'm just going to go ahead and fire another ping. It was right over here, I believe, is what we were looking for. And you can see there's lots of opportunity markers, and the majority of these opportunity markers on Daymar are going to represent clusters of rocks. And that's, like I said, the most important thing that we're doing is we're looking for borace, laranite, festinite, agricium, or beryl. But we want to prioritize where we can over 50%. So here we're coming on in. I'm going to go ahead and kind of space break it a little bit, and we're just going to go in and start taking a look at these rocks. Now, a little bit of tip or a trick. Sometimes you have to shoot the rocks in order to get them to wake up. So as you approach, I never think it's a bad idea to go ahead and put a few shots into them. Let's go ahead and move forward now. There's some rocks we're going to be able to break, and some rocks we're not going to be able to break, and that's something that we're going to have to accept. Right there off the bat, though, this is probably a little. If I had the Helix, I might have taken a run at this. This is what you're looking for. Notice a festinite is north of when it's up around. You're never going to see. That's a pretty high percentage for a secondary. Whenever you see them around that, that's a good. That's what you're looking for. Is you're looking for north of 45%, because that's going to break a lot cleaner here. This is actually going to be an Agricium rock at 59%. So yeah, I mean, you can see here. Now I'm going to go ahead and I am going to see what what our chances are here. I don't know if we're going to be able to break this guy. But it looks like we are. So we're just going to go ahead and the good news is we have the Hofstede, which is an easy laser to control. So I'm at a halfway decent optimal range, and this is us for a hot minute. Now notice my SCU says 0 down there, and the reason it says 0 is because I have those 48 the bigger mole bags on there, and so it won't actually show anything until we begin scooping. So I'm just kind of feathering my way up towards the optimal window. We don't want to overcook these if we can avoid it. And then I will absolutely feather back as soon as we get into the optimal here. So we're beginning to settle in. Almost up to the optimal now. Okay, at 15%, we slid into the optimal. Now 9%, it looks like she fell off. I'm back at 11%. And that's okay. I'm just kind of testing the waters at what percentage are we climbing, at what percentage are we falling. It's actually pretty amazingly, you can see here, it's pretty different than it used to be. And it's funny how like a percentage or two can be the difference between kind of climbing and not climbing. So good. The good news is that broke pretty clean. I'm expecting there to be at least a 100%er in here. That's kind of what we're looking for. That's a 61%. It's not always guaranteed, but you do have a much higher percentage to find like pure, pure stuff. That's a 54%. So this didn't break as clean as I'd hoped, but that's okay. Let's go ahead and see what else we have. Taking a look here, 327, that's a 64. Yeah, this, as far as that goes, this is breaking meta a touch for how I've been seeing things, but that's okay. It looks like this is spread out a little bit, there's a 72%er, that's okay. What about this guy here? All right, so we're going to go ahead and there's another 70. We're going to go ahead and grab these 70%ers to begin with. We're going to prioritize those. This is a tiny little rock, by the way. It's just a little guy, so we're not going to get a ton out of this anyways. 61% I'm okay with. It's not ideal, but we're trying to obviously get as high of percentage as possible. But you can see we're 4-1, so we're not doing too bad. That's a 56%er. Let's go ahead and see what this guy is. A lot of this rock was Agricium, so and we're trying to kind of move along as quickly as well. So that one there is pretty low. So that's 54. That's 64. We'll go ahead and grab that. I try, and I definitely try, and try and grab anything that's north of 50%. But I'm really, honestly, you're trying to get as much pure stuff in as you can. And so this ended up with us having about 7 SCU on board. I'm not going to take that last one. We're moving on here. So This is, we'll take a look here. 2500 mass rock. This is iron, so that's where, you know, that's not what we're looking for. These are pickers. I like to call them pickers. They're on the ground already and ready to be hauled in. That is actually a Beryl at 42%. I'm not going to do that one. And that's a Bex at 20%. No, I don't even think I'll get an SCU out of it. So we'll go. You know, Bexalite is a tier 1 resource, and a tier 1 picker is awful nice to have. But that was a pretty low percentage. That's a 620. That's actually a single gem there. That's 1950. It's so funny. I mean, generally speaking, I mean, you know, it's pretty much clusters on the old planet or moon surface. But you know what? It is, you know, anything to shake the can, right? The meta's a little different here. So off we go to our next opportunity. Now, once again, once I get the mining laser out, you can actually speed up just a touch. You can now kind of, you know, modify your speed while you have the mining laser out. Now, why do I have the mining laser out? It's quick to identify kind of what's in things as I approach. And I do find that that's a healthy thing to do. So we're already about 11 SCU in, and 7 of it is a tier 2 resource. And you can see this is why the 48 SCU actually is fairly significant and very helpful. Because you do have a little more wiggle room for the tier 1 resources that you're gonna bring on board. So, and there is gonna be some cuts of tier 1 resources. There's really are tier 3 resources. I'm sorry, it's the you know, the anything like titanium, tungsten, quartz, iron, copper, corundum, and aluminum. Those are gonna be kind of your tier 3 resources, and I kind of refer to that sometimes as filler. I think that's a good way to look at it. This is Agricium at 38%. Notice that's definitely less than the percentages, you know, that we're looking for. Let me go ahead and take a look at this guy. Decent size, you know, sizes so far have been good. That's Beryl at 52%. That's in our wheelhouse. Let's go ahead and take a look at what else we have. And this is why the clusters help so much, because you kind of... you know, it's a bit of a numbers game, and you really want to look at as many rocks as you can, and prioritize getting the best stuff on that you can. So that's us doing that here. This is that's 35%. All right, a couple more rocks to look at. We know we have a Beryl over 50%. Here's another igneous deposit. This is cool, so cool. I like this. That's 45% Hephaestonite. We might take a run at that. It may or may not crack, but that would be a nice batch of Hephaestonite because it's well over 50%. And as well, let's take a look at what we have here. That is Beryl at 41%. So I'm going to take a run at this Hephaestonite. I don't know that we're going to be able to do it, but you know, and we may not be able to do it. But let's go ahead and see if we get any kind of movement on it at all. I'm going to get a little closer now. Gadgets are not a bad idea either. There's the cluster modifier in gadgets. I think is very good. It doesn't look like I'm going to be able to, you know, the Hofstadter it's a lower power laser, and so it doesn't look like that guy's going to go. I am going to prioritize this little bit higher percentage Beryl rock over here. I think it was this guy, if I'm not mistaken, 52% Beryl. Is a really nice, you know, is a really nice rock, and this should be at a size that we can handle, but that doesn't necessarily always mean that's not the whole answer all the time. So let me go ahead and see. Let me crank up the. Yeah, it looks like we're gonna have no problem kind of cutting this guy up. Once again, a pretty small mass rock, but you know what? That's okay. I mean, there's nothing wrong with kind of getting a little of this and getting a little of that. Now notice I'm testing the waters here a little bit with you know, how low I want to go on my energy, so I'm not climbing up, you know, too bad into the overcharge. You definitely don't want to overcook rocks right now. Shatter damage is pretty bad, so it's blowing up a lot of the modules, and so it's pretty important that you don't get it too crazy with it. That being said, it is looking like, you know, I am going to want to have a percentage of, I don't know, somewhere around 8 it looks like it's going to be maybe a little better. 8 fell out. What about 9? 9 looks like it's kind of holding in there. Like I said, it is interesting how 1% is making such a difference there. Looks like we're going to have a pretty good break. Beryl, you know, we'll have to see how this mixes up. Beryl is, you know, we'll have to see. So, first that we have, there's 100% Beryl. That's exactly what we're looking for, is 100%ers. You know, we definitely, when you start breaking stuff down in the 30s, it just seems to be a lot more stuff mixed in with it. And so that's why I think it's so important to actually try and prioritize these rocks that have over 45. There's another 100% Beryl. You prioritize these rocks that have over 45% of your tier 2s, and then your run is a little more pure when you get back to the refinery. So that's a 50-50 one. Let's go ahead and, you know, obviously, I mean, half this rock isn't Beryl, but we've already picked up a nice little stretch of Beryl, 6 SCU. That's copper there. Okay. What about this fella? Okay, 100% copper. That makes sense to me. And what about this fella? Little guy, 100% Beryl. All right, let's go ahead and scoop him up. I like it. And then there's this one that's a slightly over 50%. I mean, a little more copper in here than I like, but and I don't have to grab those, but I mean, you know, I'm not trying to be perfect here. You know, I mean, I could be a little more discerning if I wanted to, but no big deal. So that's 32% Beryl. There was a 40-some% Beryl right back this way. Let's go ahead and take a look at it. Okay. Yeah, we couldn't crack that Hephaestonite rock. And what was the percentage on this guy? Let's see if we can crack this Beryl rock now. Our hope is that there's one piece that's gonna, you know, have a, you know, one piece or so that's a little higher. So let's go ahead and see how we do. It's already starting to move, so it looks like we're gonna be able to break it. So the Hofstad is doing a good job. It does a good job on resistance and you know, obviously some instability can be an issue, but we're going to be able to deal with it here. So I'm going to go ahead and get this guy cooking. A little bit bigger rock here. I normally like to prioritize above 45%, but we're right here. And it's right here. So let's just go ahead and give it a try. Okay. I'm just going to go ahead and crank it up a bit to give it a little oomph. All right, we are a little closer. Now, distance is another way you can really absolutely control laser power, especially with the Helix, I'm noticing. You know, so it does look like this guy is fighting us a little bit. It almost seems like she's might... I have noticed that there are occasionally these, like, the server will update and decide you kind of can't mine it. Like, I think that there's, I'm not sure what soft stats kind of feed into that, but I'm not actually terribly worried about it. You know, the reality is you just have to, you know, once your laser starts kind of not getting the job done, the judgment's the better part of valor, you time to move on. It wasn't as high, it wasn't over 45% anyway. So, for whatever reason, I do see from time to time where the laser looks like it's going to be able to break it and then kind of stalls and then it can't seem to break through, you know, a little bit. And that's okay. I mean, like I said, we're doing really good now. We've got, you know, basically out of everything that we've hauled on board, 17 SCU of tier 2 material, of tier 2 resources, and only, you know, a small percentage of iron and copper and inert. So that's what you really want to do. We're trying to maximize the amount of the tier 2 resources we can get, crossing our fingers that there is some tier 1 resources just kind of around in a quantity worth taking, and then you know, and really you know, it really, then you kind of take a look at the loads you have and then cherry picking your refinery location. For our purposes here, I may not worry so much about the refinery, but we'll talk about that as I return to CRUL1. So let's go ahead and keep on looking here. Thought the rocks were in this area. Yeah, I'm going to keep on cruising. There they are. That was the one that I did mark over there with the icon. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at these. It's always that great time, you know, when you're approaching them, like, what am I gonna find? It's kind of fun. And so this is a good mass. That is a 47. Did that say 47% Bexalite? Wow, that's a nice rock. We're going to obviously take a run at that. We may not have the laser power for it, but we're going to try. That's a 32% Hephaestonite picker. Here's another picker at over 40% Hephaestonite. Okay, let's take a look at these last couple. All right, this is going to be a 45% Laranite rock. That's cool. That's actually someone that we could try if we can't get this Bexalite rock. And so, yeah, this is us. Now, this is a that's a, you know, 18,000. All right, so this is going to be, obviously, this is the one you'd want here. It's probably not going to happen because the instability is going to be it says challenging. So it's, you know, but we'll see if we can get, how we can do it all. It is building, but that doesn't mean we're going to be able to break it because there are times when like the server will tick and then decide that you can't. But in this particular case, it does look like we're racing up. I do want to get kind of high up onto the green before I let it fall. Excellent. Wow, this is a 47% Bexalite rock. I love it. This could be a very nice score. So we're looking for as much pure Bexalite as we can. Now, this is, you know, that's a nice rock right there. So that's fantastic. That's going to increase our profitability significantly. Now, of course, I'm going to take that 52% piece of Bexalite. No question about it. But I am going to try and prioritize. There's a 93% piece of Bexalite. We're definitely going to grab that guy. So let's go ahead and do that first. This is me smiling. This is a very good thing for the video here to demonstrate. If you know, when you're getting up above 50%, the purity values are much better. Now that's a copper. That's fine. We can accept that. You know, you're gonna, you know, a big percentage of this is copper as well. But you can see here, this really broke nice. Now that's a 30%er there. There's our 52. Here's another piece of Bexalite. Let's go ahead and see what that guy's going to shake out to be. I'm assuming this is going to be a fairly good percentage. 57. So let's go ahead and grab, we have a 52. Let's go ahead and grab this first 52 and see if that exposes one more rock in here. Seems like there might be one more in my head with the math. But I could be wrong. Nope, I'm not. There is one more in there, and that's the one that I'm thinking might have, you know, there's going to be one in here that's got pretty good Bex in it. Yeah, not as good as I'd hope. The 20, but this is all good Bexalite. I mean, honestly, this is great Bexalite. Now, we're crossing, we were already going to fill our Prospector at this point, so we're really doing good. I mean, I do want to, oh, there is one more there that I didn't, you know, I want to tag and make sure we get. What is that guy going to have in it? It's an 8.6. There's another 90. I thought that there should be by the numbers be another pretty good Bexalite rock in there. So, yeah, loving it right there. We're almost full. Let's see. That's a 29. That's almost nothing, and that's a 37. So we're going to prioritize the 37. I think that's going to, you know, potentially top us off. If not, you know, so we're returning now. This is great. I mean, yeah. So we're storage full. We're actually going to go ahead and head back to now. I know that Bexalite is not. I wouldn't. The station that you're going to want to take this to is Mike L5. Okay, it's 12. It's plus 12% Bexalite. So, you know, obviously the great thing about is we do have the wiggle room. This is where I'm going to want to take this load for sure. And that's because it's plus 12% Bexalite. And we're just gonna tee up and head out. So, and there we go. This is us. Now the Atlas will make pretty good work of this particular jump. It's a long haul, but it is something that that's kind of, it's the nature of the beast at this point. All the way on the other side of the galaxy, there's a refinery that's got plus 12% Bexalite. And we hauled on a fairly good load of Bexalite. So let's go ahead and head on over to Mike L5 and get this guy processing here. I think I have another fairly good sized load of Mike L5 as well. That's either getting close. It's been cooking in there for a couple of days. I think it's a mole. It's a mole load or whatever, and so those can get in excess of 80 hours with the Dynic solvenation. At this point I may cut the video, I may not, but we're only about 30 minutes in, and we have successfully gathered a significant portion of actually pretty pure resources. I mean, if we were to take our filler, of course, with the Bexalite or whatever, we did get a couple of 91 percenters or 90 plus percenters, and so that's actually, ended up being, this is going to be a fairly decent run. So we're just going to go ahead and take a look, when we get to Mike L5 and I land, what we will do is we will go ahead and take a look at how much we made. Now, the other good news is I think we had a little Hephaestus tonight on board. That actually is plus 8% as well. So, we didn't, I don't think we grabbed any Borace. Beryl is also 7%. So, Mike L5, we've got Bexalite at plus 12%. We've got Hephaestus at plus 8%. We've got Beryl at plus 7%. That's most of what we got, in this particular run. And that's why when you're on Daymar, you're finding those types of resources, and Mike L5 way out there on the edge of the, on the Stanton system is actually not a bad, place to bring that stuff, because the refining bonuses are so high. And so, yeah, we're just cruising along here, just kind of minding our own business. So that's kind of the, this is kind of the, the half hour, 45-minute run that I really want you to kind of understand that it's capable of. Now, this would have been over, as you can imagine, it would have been over a lot sooner if we only had the 32 SCU. The fact that we had the 48 SCU has made, added a few more minutes to the trip. But it ended up being good minutes because it was Bexalite that we found there towards the end. All right, so we're still kind of cruising towards Mike L5. About 40 out or so, and just kind of taking our time. So I really want to say a couple of other things. If I've had your attention this long, I really want to say, Loud Guns and Red Gaming, you guys have done really, really excellent work. I really have appreciated the time and energy that you and your communities have put in. I've learned a lot from watching the way that you guys have handled this transition. And I've also, have had a lot of a lot of time spent myself just kind of monkeying around, making sure that we understand kind of today's meta. And I think that we are starting to get around the corner on it. I know that I, was really concerned, and I still am somewhat concerned about the profitability of the Prospector. But I am beginning to find that when we do find these percentages of rocks that are north of 45, the purity of the goes up significantly, and yeah, you're going to see a significant difference in how much profitability you're actually going to have. Bexalite is going to be one of those. It sells at 75. I mean, a unit or whatever, a USU. You know? So that's actually pretty cool. I mean, it's not quite the 88 that Quantanium used to sell for, but I mean, you know, it's pretty good. I mean, it's, and the nice thing is having an additional 12%. I mean, you know, for every 100, you know, that you actually pull on board, you're getting 120 units, you know, or 112 units, you know what I mean? So 12% is very, very good refining bonus. So we're getting, you know, we're more than halfway now to Mike L5, and we're this is kind of what this has been kind of one of the fun things to kind of learn, right? It's learning which refinery locations to match kind of what you have, right? What you've gathered. So, you know, if you happen to pick up some Terranite, you probably want to go to ARC-L4. But you have to be careful because ARC-L4, if you've got a lot of like Festinite or Agricium or Beryl, you have some negatives there. You know, Beryl is plus 7% at CRUL1. You know, Mike L2 has a very good 9% gold, 9% Bexalite. So, you know, certainly some options there. So, you know, it's kind of fun. You know, the meta's kind of a lot thicker, a lot deeper. And I do think that we are now ready for that large mining ship that RSI is supposed to bring. Now, we were having a little bit of a theory craft about what that ship should look like. Of course, the mole has your 3 lasers that are size 2. I would like to see on that, and I think you're going to have 7 stations on the Orion. And I don't know how that exactly shakes out between lasers but I would like to see probably like something like maybe 5 stations on the large miner. That would be 4 size 3 mining lasers and 1 station that was maybe for the tractor beam. So, you know, like, so how you have, like, you have your Prospector, then you have like kind of 4 in the mole, 3 3 people in the mining turrets and 1 pilot. So that's 4 people. Of course, the Orion has kind of a crew of 7. I think that large miner should be around crew of 5. And when you're seeing these massive rocks that are like 130, 140, 150K, having those size, you know, the next size up lasers really may be the trick. You know what I mean? So I am really excited for the future of mining. I know that like I said, the recent profitability kind of hits on the Prospector weren't great. I do love how the community's adapted. You know, you've given us an opportunity, CIG, to put on, better bags to up our Prospector to 48 SCU. I did that to both my Prospectors. Why on earth would you not do that? It's a half-hour investment of time. You just go and take the salvage mission. For a mole, the one that I did was the kind of the no questions asked type mission, but you get a half-hour timer. As a matter of fact, Loud Guns is a great video on it. I wouldn't bother, of exactly how to do it. It's like a short 6-minute video. It walks you exactly through how to get those bags and get them on there, and it's a very simple thing to do. I did 2 of them last night. Both my Prospectors in about 45 minutes. I had these upgrade bags on. Now, you can't claim your ship. They won't survive through a claim, but they certainly will. You can store your ship. The one little caveat is it will look like it's 0 SCU after you recall the ship, but it's not. Now, did I actually choose the station itself or just Mike L5? Oh, it doesn't look like I chose the station itself. So that's the modern Icarus station there. I am now spooling. Look at the Atlas drive is already cleaned up. Now we're pretty wiped out on quantum fuel, but we made it. That's the most important thing, right? And off we go. All right, we're moving in here. And I've gone back to sticks. That's what right. I was going to say, for a minute, I'm like, I don't see the station. Well, yeah, environmentally, she just kind of, it took a, you know, some things are loading and popping. I can never tell, like, you know, like, which way's up until I kind of get closer or whatever, but that's okay. We're kind of coming on a reasonable clip. Now, look, I'm going to drop my gear. I'm going to lower my VTOLs already. You know, I'm coming in at a pretty good clip. A little, yeah, I mean, a little close to 300. Nothing crazy. We're not on any kind of a timer. You know, we're, you know, obviously, we just are. I'm very happy with this run. It looks like, you know, sometime around 45 minutes we should be able to finish up, including getting it out to the refinery. So, now we don't always want to find our, Mike L5's. It's a long haul across the verse, but to maximize our profits, we're definitely interested in it. So, here we go. We're almost there. We're just entering Armistice now. As soon as I have the opportunity to, I'm going to call for a hangar. Looks like that's about to happen in just a couple of seconds.
Thank you, and please visit again.
Nice. All right.
Please proceed to assigned landing bay.
I was wondering if it was going to be over that way. And it does look like I'm upside down, so that's okay. We're just going to cruise on over here. And we will just wrap around. Alright, here I'm going to uncouple. As soon as I get a halfway decent angle. Cool. Alright, now I'm going to couple. Yeah, real simple. I really, you know, a little bit of decoupling here, and you can really kind of pull some stuff off that you're not necessarily, you know, practice it a little bit. Practice decoupling just a touch here and there. Oh, wow. There's some, I think I might have bumped that stuff. There was some space trash right out there, and I think I might have bumped it, but no harm, no foul, it didn't look like. We're bringing her on in here. Nice little clip. We've got the gear down. We're not in any hurry. You know, we're not on these Quantanium runs anymore where you've got to, you know, you really have a very limited amount of time. Down we go. Now, the other thing that's important, you know, you don't always get elevators, and that's, you know, server stability is really the thing they've got to get working on the most. I am hoping that they fuel my ship. You know, we'll see how that goes when we come back out to it. For the sake of the video here, I'm not going to stand and watch them fill that. I'm just going to go ahead and head out. Alrighty. Alright, and right now I'm kind of crossing my fingers that we get on the elevator, because that can be a real troublesome thing if you don't, but look at that, we absolutely did. So we're going to go in and we're going to store this Prospector. We're at about 43 minutes so far for the video, so we're making pretty darn good time considering we had to cross the verse in order to get the stuff into the refinery. We're going to store this guy here. In we go, beautiful. Let's go down to the refinery and see how much money we made. So I think this is actually going to be a fairly healthy, you know, a fairly healthy run, you know, as far as it goes. So we'll have to see. There we go. As far as Prospector runs go, we'll take a look at the half value, and then we'll do a little bit of math and see how we come out. So, ready? Got pretty lucky with that Bexalite rock. You don't always find, you know, north of 50% Bexalite rocks, but you know what? We'll take it. You need a little bit of miner's luck, and I never know how it's going to end up when I go and do these runs, and I'm really happy with the way this one went today for you. So let me go ahead and let's hit this guy. Yeah, you can see right there, that's actually 140,000 on a Prospector run. That's, you know, roughly. I mean, we'll have to, you know, we'll crunch the numbers here in a sec, but that's actually a very, very good Prospector run. That's a very solid Prospector run at 69,000. So let's go ahead now and you know, and the good news is, like I said, we're going to be seeing all the bonuses here. So when we begin our work, we've got about 10 hours left on this really nice, look at that, 54 SCU of Hephaestonite and about 20 SCU of Bex already cooking in here. So we're going to set up this work order. You can see Bexalite at 1620. We've got the plus 12%. We've got Beryl, and that's in here at plus 7%. That's great. We've got Agricium, and I don't know if that's got anything here. Oh, we didn't end up. We had Agricium, not Hephaestonite. As far as that goes, now I'm not going to worry about the copper, and I'm not going to worry about the iron, even though the iron actually is plus 8% here. It's not really. You know, you're not going to make a whole lot of value on that. So I'm going to actually get a quote on the Dynex Solvanation. We'll get a quote on that. It's only 8,200. It takes about 37 hours. We'll confirm that. Let's go ahead and I'm going to write down a couple of these numbers so I can get you a rough idea of how much this is going to make. So we've got 1543 units here. 1543 times Bex, which is going to be about 75 a unit or so. You've got 844 Beryl, and that is going to get you around 26. And then you've got 597 Agricium, and Agricium is going to get you around 27. So as far as that goes, I am going to go ahead and grab a calculator, just because I think it's important for you to know what we're looking at here. So 1543 times 75 is about 115,000. And that's 115,725. Then you've got your Beryl, 844 times 26. That is 21,944. And then we're looking at 500 and hold on just a sec. 597 units of times 27 equals 16,119. So let's go ahead and let me add that up for you. 115,725 plus 21,944 plus 16,119 equals 153,788 on a Prospector run. Okay, that's a very respectable Prospector run. So I just wanted to let you know that that's what that was. And so anyways, yeah, that is it. Slightly under an hour of 48 minutes. We did 153,788 Prospector run. Now we do have the 48 SCU bags on board, but we'll take it. Anyways, that was a very profitable Prospector run. Thanks for your time, and I will see you all around the verse.